Hi everyone, this is Sean. Um, I'm gonna do a video on all the stuff, the gear that I've gotten to vape. Um, can say that I started off with disposable e-cigs, and honestly, they were a total waste of money. I was spending anywhere between $10 and $20 a day on disposable e-cigs, and it wasn't working because all it was doing was really just kind of making me take a break from smoking, and it really wasn't doing the job. Um, I don't have a disposable. I didn't find it worth picking one up for $10 and basically wasting my money. I mean, I would say that the disposables are great in terms of getting you introduced to it and make you search for a better way of vaping. Um, but honestly, the only thing they're good for is mainly mere convenience in case you run out of what you usually use. I wouldn't suggest to anyone who's seriously considering getting into vaping, I wouldn't suggest going with disposables. You're going to go through a ton of money and you're not going to get the same satisfaction. That's just what I got from it. And I went through a lot of different disposables. Um, to the point that it was costing more than cigarettes, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So I did research. I found a good company, um, and they're great people. It's the e-cig Bond. Um, I mean, I can go to them about just about anything and get information on it. Um, they're the people that they have work for them. They're very knowledgeable. They know what they're talking about, um, and they can really help you out in designing and making your own system. Um, if it's not just something that is just set up the way it is and that's the way it goes. Um, but the first thing I stepped into when I got rid of disposables was the Ego set, and this is the case that it comes in, the Ego. You see, yeah, it opens up, and I keep it so my pens face down in this part, and everything else faces up. Um, Normally, in a starter kit, I mean, I have additional stuff in here that you normally do not get with the kit. You get the charger. Um, the wall mount is extra. This is the wall mount. That's an extra addition. But mainly, what comes with the set is your basic Ego T stick. I go with the Ego T. It's the longest lasting Ego one they make. It's very dependable and very reliable, um, and I got them by advice from people of the company. Um, so when you get a set, it comes with the two batteries, the two tips, um, and it comes with a free bottle of juice. Um, this is an EVOD tip. Um, they unscrew um, off the pen, and this is actually a more advanced EVOD tip, and it's put out by Kanga. Um, and on these, you have a window, and that will show you your level of liquid of juice. Um, and on the EVOD, it's very important to understand that when you go to undo your your tank from your pen, that you don't unscrew this part, because the metal part will stay on, and then all your juice will run out. You don't want that. So you make sure you grab the metal part and twist that off, and then when you flip it over, you twist the metal, and then it comes out. And this is your coil. This is a preset coil. Um, These are disposables. They're meant to last for a certain amount of time. On the Ego stick, they run off of pretty much 10 watt, and honestly, they work really well. Um, and so I'm not filling it right now, but just to give you an idea of how to do it. And when you fill, there will be a line that'll show you where to fill up to. I try to go a little bit below the line, just so to avoid a flood, because if you get a flood on your coil, it's not gonna vape correctly as it should. So I try to go a little bit lower than what's needed, because I mean I can always add more juice. And with these, it's basically five quick pushes, and it goes on. And once it's on, it's ready. And it's just simple puffing. It's simple vaping. Very similar to the drag of a cigarette. Um, it's very satisfactory. It's what got me to the point where I was able to basically almost quit cigarettes. I still smoke about 5 a day, but taking away the additional 70 added on that I was smoking, I'd say I'm pretty much doing pretty good. But yeah, these are pretty simple. They go on, you puff them, and they're great. And when you go to charge them, it's just a simple USB, and you go to charge them, and you have this part, and it just goes onto there, and it screws in. And when it screws on, the light it'll first show green, and when it goes to charge, it'll show red. When it shows red, it means it's not done charging. Once it shows green, that means it's all done charging. And then you take it off and you vape with it. And to turn it on, like I said, is 5 times. To turn it off, same thing. And the convenience about turning it on and off is you can stick it in your pocket and not have to worry about it firing off and destroying your coil. And that's one thing to understand about these tips, is that you do not want to let them run too low, because when you do, the wicks go dry and it will burn out the coil a lot faster, and you will have to throw the tip out. And you want to get the most that you can out of your tips. For me, I have this for my car, for the car, which is so I can put it in and connect my USB, and I can charge in the car, and I'm good. It's great. But that's pretty much the Ego T. And what I'll get into from there is, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to show you from brand new from the package. My set definitely is not brand new. But this right here is the Nautilus by Aspire. And these, I forgot that I had the box open. And this is how it pretty much comes. I unopened the box. I opened the box so that way I could just slide it out and show you. But that's pretty much how it comes. It comes with the tank. It comes with a spare tank. It comes with a spare coil, and it comes with the skirt. And I'll show you how this works. You take your pen, you stick, and you take the skirt. Now with these skirts can easily strip your linings. So you want to kind of make them use their own weight and kind of counter spin them until they catch, and then you spin them all the way. And you always want to do your skirt separate from your tank, even when taking it off. Just for that mere factor that it can strip the linings. and you don't want to do that. And once you have your skirt on, you basically take your tank. My tip came off. The tip is removable so you can clean it if it gets clogged or anything. You take your tank, and now that it's got the skirt on there, it's got plenty of support around it. And these tanks are specifically designed for the Ego themselves. They work incredibly good. These are a coil system, and this is a coil to show you, kind of show you. That's a coil, and what it does, and I'll show you on the mini Nautilus. But this is just basically the regular Nautilus, and with these, I do take the rubber grommets, and I put them around because you want to protect your glass. As much as these are very, very high quality Pyrex, glass meets the street and it will break. There's just no doubt in my mind about that. If it doesn't, you're lucky. And with these, it's just I turn it on, and on this as well, you've also got your airflow adjustables, which is great. So you can adjust what type of level of restriction you want, and I usually go with an open flow. When I first started off, I went with a tighter flow because I was used to smoking a cigarette. But now that I'm into vaping, I understand it a little bit better, so I go with a more open flow and really get that flavor and that vape right in. And these smoke vape a lot better. When you get into a coil system, you know, the difference in the quality of your vape and the taste of your juices will dramatically increase, and increase in a good way. But for me, these are great for when I'm watching TV. Just real simple, don't have to really focus too much, and can just kind of go along with it, and you know, and just like drift away with it and not have to have it be such a project almost. I'm going to show you now the other, its counterpart, which is the mini Nautilus. Yeah, and I did open it up. And this is the boxes they come in. Okay, and the mini Nautilus, it comes, you know, it comes with your tank, your skirt, and a spare coil. And it's basically the same process. You put your skirt on. When it's brand new, you go to load your coil, but before you load your coil, you prime it. If you get into a coil system, they will show you how to prime a coil. If they don't, I would wonder what they're doing with their business, but I don't know. This is just a smaller version of the Nautilus. The Nautilus holds about 5 milliliters of juice. I think this one holds 3. It might say it right on it. In fact, I think it does. If I can look and find it. I don't know. I'd have to look at the specifics definitely in terms of how much milliliters it holds. But it looks like it's around 3 to 5. No, around 3, and the regular size Nautilus is 5 milliliters, and that's a fairly decent amount. And I've had on my larger the Nautilus, where when I fill this, it's just it lasts for days. I usually put my tobacco flavor in the larger Nautilus, because it's just my always go-to tobacco, and I don't have to change it as much. I can just grab it and puff away, and it's great. But this is the Mini, and this is the regular size Nautilus. The regular size Nautilus is the one that comes with the spare tank, the replacement glass. The Mini, I think you can order them, but they do not come with it in brand new in the package. And that's pretty much it for the Ego set. And when you get a juice from them, it's their small bottle, and this is the size of this small bottle. It's actually the version they used to have was a little smaller, but it was also a half the price. But in this bottle you get 15 milliliters. The small bottle was 10 milliliters before. And it's just a difference in how much you get within, a small bottle versus a big bottle. And when it comes to trying out flavors, I'll go with the smaller bottle. And when I really like a flavor, then I jump into the larger bottle. It's best to start off with a small amount just to check it if you even like the flavor. I'm looking at what I got next here and what I'm going to do. And I'm trying to do a complete thing on everything that I have and where I've gone and where I've gotten to with vaping. After I did my Ego set, and I worked with this for quite a while, and it really, for me not to smoke almost 4 packs of cigarettes a day, and have it be almost eliminated, was a real great thing for me. With smoking, I knew I was running into a brick wall, and 4 packs a day, I was just, I was going to crash and burn, and I really wanted to get away from it, but I don't know, nicotine, it's a serious addiction, no joke. Same way with caffeine. A lot of things we take in today are very addictive, but I don't know, it's usually considered adult rather than child, I guess. But after the Ego system, I really wanted to get into a tank system, a coil tank, which is like the Nautilus. But actually, I got the Nautilus and the Mini Nautilus after I purchased this. This is the Sigelei 75 watt system, and it's very deceiving. It comes in a really small box, but it's like perfect fit, and so perfect that it's gripping it, taking it out. And this is how it comes in the package, just all together. The only thing I'm not showing with it is the cord, the small cord to charge it, that came with it, but I got a larger cord, a longer cord, and it's just a simple regular phone cord, and it just slides in at the bottom, and that's how you charge. I can show you that inside. I'm going to turn this off first. Alright, now this is the cover. It slides off. They recommend you leave the cover on at all times, just for protection. Sometimes, it depends on how much I'm using it, I will take the rubber off, just for temperature control. This system does have a temperature control in it. I don't use it. A lot of people don't use the temperature control. And these just come off with a magnet, which is great. Usually you have to unscrew things, but this Sigelei made it simple, where both sides can come off. You can get at it on either side, and you pop your battery out, and you have to purchase the battery separate in your tank. Basically, the only thing that comes in the unit, the system, is this. Well, with the case on it. And you have to, buy your battery, you know, you slide it in, push it in, whatever, however it goes for you. Make sure it's positive and negative right. Sometimes I have a hard time with this one because can't go in on an angle. And it's just a real simple, quick snap on, and it's all together. And you just, you know, slide your case back on, and that's it. And it's 5 pushes to turn it on. This is a 75 watt system. I normally cook on about between 30 and 35 watt. So far I have not pumped out the full 75 in this. I don't need to. And honestly, I researched into finding out why the higher temperatures were coming out and why they were important. And there's one aspect of it that I'll mention because it deals with vaping. The reason for the high temperature is basically people like to do what they call a coil drip. And to do a coil drip, I guess you need a very high wattage. And it's mainly about doing a smoke show and doing the smoke tricks, vape tricks and stuff like that. But honestly, for the most part, I mean, you really don't need to go way up in wattage to enjoy your vapor at all. When you go up to, you know, 75 plus watts, I mean, you're merely vaping for entertainment purposes at that point when it comes to the juice. And this is the system, and I'll show you next. This is the tank that I picked up with it. It's the Atlantis 2 by Aspire. It comes in the package, looks just like that, except without the juice in it. One thing about these, and I learned by almost doing it myself, is that after you take your tank out, you do take this out afterwards. And the reason why is because underneath there was a spare coil, and I almost threw it out. And I don't know, for me, I'd rather save the $5 rather than chuck it away. So yeah, now with packages, I make sure that I check them out thoroughly because they try to make it as, you know, consolidated as possible in packaging. So this is the Aspire and the Atlantis 2. And it's a really, really good tank. It holds 3 milliliters of juice. It's got airflow that's adjustable on the bottom. You can adjust it to where you want it to go according to your preference. There is also one up here. I tend to leave this one closed unless I'm going up on a higher wattage. Then I try to get a little bit more air in with it. But basically, you got your tank, and I'll show you this on this tank. To undo the tank, which is called building, you just take it and you unscrew, and it lifts off from the tank. And right there on the bottom, that is your coil. And your coil comes out. And basically, with the coil, I'm not going to take it out because I don't want to get juice all over me. You just screw the coil in. They last anywhere between 4 to 7 days, I was told. You can usually tell when a coil is going. I like replacing a coil than throwing a disposable tip away a lot better. Plus, I mean, the performance you get out of it is so much better. I can't even describe it. You would have to vape out of a coil system that can at least do about 30 watt to understand. So I find that at 30 watt is really about the level of where I get the flavor burst in the juice. And what the flavor burst is for me is that the juice just opens up and it just gives out that full flavor. Um, with the tank, you just take your tank after you build it back up, and you put your juice in, and you just screw it on, and it sets. And one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to over squeeze the glass. You can power squeeze this glass and actually break it. When you get it on snug, you want to grab the very bottom and you want to tighten it. You don't want to grab the glass and tighten it, because you can turn the glass without even turning this and you'll power squeeze it and it'll snap. And this is turned on. Right now I have it at 40 watt. I'm going to drop it down a little bit. And this is basically the buttons where up and down for water. It's just your button to power it up. And this is your LED display. And basically it's just push the button and you go at it. And there are different ways to go at it. The way I usually do it is I usually I exhale a little bit into it to get the coil warmed up and some smoke kind of coming out the sides, and then I take it in and I get that full burst of vapor, and it's really nice. And I'll do a couple rips right now just to show you. But that's completely different from a stick. And when you get up to that level of vapor, you will drop your nicotine level down. Trust me. I didn't think I would, but I definitely had to, because when the nicotine hits you that hard, it gives you a rush. And the rush can quickly lead into nicotine sickness, and I don't ever want to be nicotine sick. I've been nicotine sick one time before in my life, and it was awful. Awful. And I know when I'm at that borderline, and I'll cut myself off right to the T, because I just do not want that feeling. The nicotine buzz